Hey, why do dumb people often beat the smartest of all in life, generally? Want me to say that again? Okay. Why do smart people often are overpowered by dumb people, in a way? Well, I did some soul searching on that and I did some research on that and found the results were shocking and they were tremendously different from what I thought it would be. I was often intrigued in life that why do some of the smartest people, smartest men and women, are not hired by the top banks, top institutions, governments, and they very, very seldom lead the governments and be the prime minister, president, chancellors. It's often the dumb person, the most uncommon guy, the most unlikely pick, who becomes a CEO, CFO, big names, president, prime minister, leader of the state. Why is that so? Well, there are multiple reasons to that, but I give you only three. First one is dumb people are like water. Let me give you an example. Bruce Lee once said, "Be water, my friend." Let me repeat that. Be water, my friend. That basically means be flexible. If you're in a tumbler, form the shape of a tumbler. If you're in the river, be like the river. If you're in the ocean, be like the ocean. If you are falling from a waterfall, be like the waterfall. And if you are falling from the clouds, be like the rain. The people who can adapt and who can be flexible to things are often the ones who have a very, very big advantage. It's like the soft skill, it's like the invisible hand, which Adam Smith used to talk about. Don't focus on Adam Smith, focus on what I'm saying. The second one would be really cool because people who are labeled as dumb or who are labeled as useless, so on and so forth, you didn't do well in school and uni and so on and so forth, so you are dumb, are often the ones who have nothing to lose because the teachers hated them, their parents berated them, their friends don't like them, so they have got their back against the wall. So every step they make is a progress. They are already at zero. Where else are they going to go even? You can't go to negative 1, 2, 10, 100, 10,000. When you're already at zero, there's only one way to go, and that is to reach the 100, 200, 500, 10,000, 100,000. That's exactly how dumb people think. Dumb people like me. uh, because you don't have anything to lose. So you can talk to the CEO of the biggest software company in your town. You can talk to the most beautiful girl you've seen in the country. Because you have got nothing to lose. What's the worst gonna happen? She's gonna say no. He's gonna say something really bad. But what the best thing that's gonna happen? She can say yes, and she can be your mate for the rest of your life. He can say yes, and you will be the next CEO in the next 10, 15, 12 years, 20 years. Who knows that? The risk to reward ratio is basically zero risk, and the rewards are infinite. And that is how dumb people think. And how do I know that? Because maybe I'm one of them. I am one of them. The third one could be intriguing, but you will love it. They are actually not a big fan of rules. Dumb people do not like rules because ever since they were born, their parents, the teachers, professors, neighbors, all tried to confine them in certain rules and regulations. So you got to do this, you got to score this much grade, you got to do that, and you got to go that much of a university, and you got to apply to the Ivy League, and you got to go Harvard, and so on and so forth. But when a dumb guy tries to do something which doesn't require rules or which are beyond the scope of regulation or so on and so forth, the creative genius in them awakens and they can do anything. Because they can break things, they can remake things, they can take their time, they can move on, they can do anything. And that is how it goes. The people who have changed the world are not the ones who followed the line. The people who changed the world are the ones who broke the line and made a line for themselves. But that doesn't mean you do the same. I just mean to say that that is how a dumb people might think. They might think, why follow the rules? Why do the same thing? And this is where the big difference comes because the very smart intellectual people, they're often rigid people. They don't like changes. They are very much fixed theoretically. They think if A equals to B and B equals to C, then C must be equal to D, following the law of common sense and averages. But dumb people don't think like that. They think like if A equals to B and B equals to C, it could very probably mean that A, B, and C all combined could be half of D. And they'll find why is that. And if why, how can they fix it? How can they change it? How can they break it? As I've already said. So they are different, very different. Fourth one would be the capacity to break ideas and explain things. Dr. Einstein used to say, if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, then you probably never understood yourself. If you can break that idea, for example, a dumb person is very much likely to think about the explanation or the solution in his head in the most easiest and simplest way. Why? because he or she is not going to remember that if they don't explain it to themselves in a simple way. And when they explain it themselves in a simple way, they actually explain it to the world in a simpler way through their experience, through the filter of experience and knowledge. They do it in a simpler way and they become genius. And they rise and they do well. The problem with very smart people is that they often are entangled in this web of complexity and jargonism and trying to be perfect, which is perfectly fine, which has no problem with that in academics. But in real life, perfection doesn't work. In real life, what works is simplicity. Because the most complicated things are the ones that are the most simple. And if you're dumb enough, like me, and if you can explain things in the simplest of manner, there are a lot of doors that are going to open for you. And I hope this was helpful. Thank you.